South Africa won the toss in Cuttack. They decided to bowl first and they looked like a well-oiled bowling machine. Everything was going right for them until Hardik Pandya came and finished things off well for India. India have managed 175 in their 20 overs. Hardik getting 59 of 28. Tilak Varma 26, Aksar 23. Lungi Ngiri gets 3 for 31 in his 4. We are back at Cricbuzz Live. I have got a very content and happy Shaun Pollock, who's very proud of his bowlers there, and a man in the green and yellow who is there to green and gold. I'm sorry, who was here to support Polly. But Joyda, to you first. India will be disappointed with the start they got with the bat. They lost 2 wickets in the power play, not the start they wanted. Thankfully, Hardik came to the party.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a competitive score. Definitely 175 on this surface. The way this surface is played, we have a decent bowling attack. India's got a very decent bowling attack. It's not going to be an easy game. And definitely the person who got them there, if you look at that strike rate of any batter who's batted more than 10, 15, 20 balls, I mean, everyone else is in and around 100. Just 110, 115. I mean, Hardik is a true standout, absolutely, and he really transformed the innings. If you take a look at that, 26 of 32 for Tilak, 23 for 21. Really, Hardik's innings is the one that has, given India a fighting chance.
100 T20I sixes for Hardik Pandya, Polly. He came out and he didn't look like he was hassled at all with the top order, with the way things had gone, because he came out, looked extremely confident. His innings really saved India because at the 10-over point, Joyda said 180 and India would be very happy. This is that innings that changed things around, a strike rate of 210, 4 sixes, 6 fours.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he played the length well. He put the pressure back on the South African bowlers. Also, at that stage of the innings, the South Africans ended up bowling a different length. But I think South Africa would be really happy. I think in these T20 tournaments, comps, when it's the first game of a series, sometimes teams battle to work out how they're going to go about it. They come and they want to go at the deliveries hard, but there's a balance that you bring to it. We often see in the IPL how teams get or like to bat second because teams who bat first don't always get it right, don't understand how to pace their innings. And I think India were caught a little bit like it. I think the nature of the surface was probably more like a South African pitch. So the length that the South African bowlers could bowl was very similar to what we would do back home. And a lot of the South Africans held that length and were very good about that. So I think it was difficult. I think that Ashdeep and Bumrah will be a handful. I think that first 6 won't go according to plan for South Africa. They have to fight hard. And it wasn't easy. I think the easiest part was actually where the spinners came on. So that's what I'm interested to see when South Africa do come out and bat is, obviously, India have got 3 different spinners that they might use, but none of them really got the ball to purchase. It was kind of Ferreira with his darts that was effective, rather than someone using the guile and giving it some air and then getting it to turn. So South Africa might think that that's their opportunity to hammer home the advantage, because I don't think those first 5 or 6 overs are going to be easy. But I think good enough recovery. At one stage, it looked like India might only end up with just over 150. So Hardik's innings was really good, and it also just shows the value of having a deep low order, where guys are still coming into the back end that can strike it. And there you can see the improvement at the back end. The strike rate up front, not easy, wasn't great in the middle, and then they finished well.
Joyda 71 for 3 in 10 and then 104 for 3 in the back 10. So clearly that innings really helped India get to 175. But the first 10 was a concern because we chatted about it in our pre-match show a little bit in the com-box. Number 1, 2, 3 need to click when you want a big score in T20 cricket, which didn't happen today.
Yeah, or one of 1, 2 or 3 needs to go on and bat 15, 16 overs. And that's the ideal formula where one guy just keeps going, gets better and better, and everyone else bats around him. That didn't quite happen out here. And I think the thing about it was that after a while, I think Tilak was trying to be there and be that anchor man. And his getting out was unfortunate because just when he was sort of getting to see the ball, and the lengths were also, I think the ball had also stopped moving. I think he was the guy who could have changed it, but unfortunately he got out. It was very fortunate for India that Hardik came in and played the way he did because, yes, this was looking like a 155, 160 total.
But Polly, with the shot selection, a few of the shots, we knew that fine leg was there, Jansen was right there, but they were still trying those paddles. If you were a coach in that dugout, would you have a few words with the players with regards to the shot selection?
Well, I think that was where it went down to the surface. Normally in India, you don't get those kind of pitches where if you hold back over length, it's difficult to get away. I mean, they saw guys going hard and just popping it up in the air. So it was a little bit difficult. I think what the innings also showed me is that in franchise cricket, you can sometimes get away with having 5 or 6 batters because the bowling attacks aren't always as strong. But at international level, invariably, you've got 5 or 6 really quality bowlers on each side. I've seen Australia have now gone with like a list of trying to get 8 or 9 batters in. And once again, India was shown that even though you go hard, if you've got enough depth coming in back end of the innings, you can still make a contribution and get something competitive. So international teams, you'll probably see them have more batters or more contributors down the order. Whereas I think in franchise cricket, you can get away with a little bit less batting and rely on guys just...
And now with the impact substitutions even more less.
Yeah, exactly. So it just shows you the depth. But I think we'll maybe get a pitch map up. I think they're trying to put one together for us. And South Africa, I think in the first 10 or so overs, I think if they bowled, there you go, see the percentages. Very little balls that were full. And they look at the scoring rates of being holding good length, and that doesn't always work in India in particular. South Africa, yes, it often works because of the bounce of the carry. But that played right into the South Africans' hands to be able to bowl that length consistently because that's what we do day in and day out.
We spoke about it in our pre-match show. You're the one who invented good length, and they just followed. That's what they did today. They said that we need to bowl the Shaun Pollock style of bowling. Just keep bowling that good length.
Absolutely. And, you know, he's talked about it. And the other person I was to always hear this from was Jacques Kallis, who used to say that what we need to bowl on this pitch is test match length.
Yes.
And just keep going test match length. And, we were talking in the dressing room and Shaun made that point that they aren't, that kind of length where it's sort of searching, it's not quite drivable, but, you've got to move forward. And the batters are so used to either getting, Yorkers or short balls or, wide Yorkers outside the off stump. They don't quite know how to play this. So don't know. Also, decision making is difficult.
Yes.
What do? Do I run at him or do I stay back and try and wait, try and push it down, go around? So those are the kind of things that I think have made a difference. And I think it's interesting because none of the Indian batters up front really looked comfortable. And the first time you saw even an Abhishek look comfortable is once he got a really short ball.
Yes.
And because of Nokia's speed, it came at a pace where he could hit it. Then he could really, time the ball. That's the problem that they were having, that they weren't be able to time it at all. And if you see the really short ones went because it was a pitch and it was the speed at which it was coming that allowed them to sort of go through with their shots, which they are much more comfortable with. They're comfortable with the ball coming onto them.
One thing I enjoyed was to see Nokia, 560 days, whatever it's been. It was great to see him charging in and
145 plus clicks consistently.
There was 149, might have even pushed on 150. So that's good signs for South Africa that he's back and can be there.
But do you think the numbers don't do justice to him because he was a little expensive towards the end, but he looked really, really good all through.
Yeah.
Especially up at the top, he looked very good.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be that upset with not for 41. Whenever you bowl the last over or last 2 overs, there's a chance you might disappear. I think Marco Jansen, the way he was getting the ball to work off the length, I think the biggest impressive one was actually Donovan Ferreira to walk away with 2 overs, 1 for 13. His last delivery went for 4. He was 1.5 overs, 1 for 9, and that last one went for 4. So to get him to squeeze in 2 when he wasn't even giving it air, he was almost bowling just like cross-seam, flat seamer deliveries. I think that was the real plus for South Africa because when Maharaj came on, you thought, okay, this surface, the one person that's not suiting in is Keshav. And if he has to bowl 4 overs, it could be put under pressure. But they managed to squeeze in 2 from Ferreira.
But also that, again, because we know that you've coached so many sides, the extras down at the bottom, there's 9 extras. In the ODIs as well, we saw quite a few extras again today. 9 runs is a lot of runs in T20 cricket.
Yeah, I must admit, in the ODI series, they didn't show the control that they were after. And I'm looking to see what Bumrah and Ashdeep will do. I think they've wonderful exponents of moving the ball, but moving it with control. So South Africa might have to have their work cut out. If I was them, I wouldn't be overly concerned about how many runs you get in the first 6. I think if they just get off to a solid start, if they can get to close to 40 for 1, I think they've done the bulk of the work, and then they can look to use that firepower later because they also bat nice and deep. But yeah, I don't think the South Africans have been happy. I think that they didn't bowl as well as they could have. There's a few deliveries, but in general, I thought the lengths that they held were very good.
Joyda, what can we expect with the due? Because Katak, Markram spoke about there being due. We've got 2 top quality spinners in the side as well. Is that going to be a concern?
It will be a concern because at some point, India does depend more on spinners than South Africa does, and Donovan Ferreira technically you wouldn't
Yes.
even call him a spinner in that sense, but
The Shivam Dube wicket he took,
yeah,
like Polly was saying, it was just like
fired
a
it
swim
in.
up, yes.
Just fire it in, and aim at the leg. You're almost aiming at his, the top of his boot, and you're always there, not giving him space to try and hit the ball. So I think they do that very effectively. What I also found interesting was the way they use that trap, where you have the long leg is much straighter than normal. The ball is slightly, the pace is slightly off. So if you paddle it, you have the tallest guy in the field standing out there in that position.
Athletic tall.
Yeah, and you got two guys out that way. Think about it. Two guys out that way on a trap which seems on the face of it to be improbable, and you got 2 wickets of it.
But what can we expect from Bumrah, Polly? Do you see them using him like they have been up top? Do you see them conserving him for the death overs? What would you like to do?
Yeah, I think they need to try and strike. So I would want 2 overs from him, 2 overs from Arshdeep, 2 overs from him, and then Hardik to bowl 1 in the first 6, and then Hardik Pandya, and then maybe one of the spinners. Axar's the one who doesn't mind bowling in that first power play. But I think they're going to bowl a slightly fuller length. I think they're going to ask some good questions. So South Africa, they're going to have to work hard. I think Quinton de Kock might be looking to fiddle things behind square if he uses the pace of it. And then Markham will be more orthodox.
All right, Arshdeep is out to bowl. So, Joyda, why don't you go with the predictions first?
51.
You said 40 for 1. I'd kept
Yeah,
track of what
I'm
you
going to
said.
go. I'm going to go. I'm happy with South Africa to get 47. 47 for me. I'm happy with them in the first 6.
You said 50,
1.
51, 47. I'm going with Joyda's 42 and see if we manage a 42. Low scoring because like Polly Kaka said, he's happy if they get a 40 and they start slowly. So let's see if we manage that. Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Joyda. We will be back at the 10th over point at the Cricbuzz Combox. So do join us there. Thank you for watching Cricbuzz Live.